Hello and welcome to another edition of Coffee with Brand&Athlete. Of course, I'm Jay Hicks, and this is a show where we sit down and talk to the future faces of the sport, let them tell their stories raw and unfiltered. Today, we have UNC tennis player, All American, Alanis Hamilton. I'm so excited to talk to you. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm excited because here's one of the things that I know about you in a short period of time. I've gotten to know you offline is that you're a baller on the court, a showman, a competitor, someone whose journey is just getting started. So I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah, I'm excited as well.
All right. So if you guys know if this is your first live stream for you guys, first of all, Lance, is this your first live stream being on one?
I think so. Live stream wise, yes.
Okay, okay. If you guys are a guest, so you're watching the show, we want to know where are you guys watching from? Where are you pulling it up? Drop it in the chat. If you're watching on your phone or your device, there's a little chat button. Drop the location. If it's Dallas, if it's Arkansas or Texas, let us know. All right. So, got to ask you, is your first live stream that you can recall of? What is the biggest thing that you thought coming into this show?
The biggest thing, honestly, it's just a new experience, and I just want to, like, honestly, help people get to know my story better.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it helps them in their journey as well as a tennis player, as an athlete, and a student. So, I'm just excited to be here and explore this
Okay.
new
Okay.
thing.
That's awesome. The first of two. Today is kind of a get to know you. We're going to talk a little bit more about it Wednesday, 7 p.m. We're going to do a live coaching session, go through your brand, talk to you about what you want to do, and help you start to craft that plan. So, for the folks who don't know you yet, give us a starter pack. Like, where'd you grow up? Who introduced you to the game? And how did tennis become your thing?
Yeah, so growing up, I was born in Plano, Texas, and moved to Bentonville, Arkansas when I was about 5 years old for my dad's
Home of
work.
Walmart. Got to jump
Yep,
to it. Home of
my dad
Walmart.
worked for Walmart, and then when I was about 5, 6, I really liked sports, so I was just kind of going around trying all the different sports, and I played soccer, I played softball, I played tennis, obviously, and actually, I don't think I really wasn't that big of a fan of tennis when I first started, which is very interesting because it was just like more, I had to be entertained 24/7. So if it wasn't exactly entertaining, I got bored really
Right.
easily. So we met my first coach, Cole Reeves, and he helped me a
Shout out to
lot.
Cole Reeves.
Yeah, exactly. And he pretty much just, I think he was honestly the one that taught me like discipline and hard work and like how to focus because I was just all over the place. But yeah, originally I really didn't like tennis at first, and I think he helped me a lot finding my love for the game. And I think just as I played more, I was so close to quitting, and my parents were like, just stay with it for a little longer, and then I think I went to play, I got good enough to play my first tournament, and I just realized that, like, I really loved competing, and I liked the fact that it was, whether I won or I lost, it was kinda on me, and I could control how I did, so
Okay. Gotta ask you this question. There's this old movie, you've probably never seen it. It's this old hip hop movie. It's called Brown Sugar. And in this movie, everybody works in the hip hop industry. And so, like, one of the reoccurring things they ask people is, like, when did you fall in love with hip hop? So,
Mhm.
my question for you is, when did you fall in love with tennis?
Timeline-wise, that's probably a little tougher. I would say when I was, like, 7 or 8 years old. So I played for a little, I started when I was about 6 and a half, 7 playing tennis, and I think I, like, really fell in love with it when I was about 8 or 9 because I was really, it was fun to me at that point, getting to hit the ball, getting to compete, like, it was no longer like, oh, I have to go play tennis. So I think that was about the age when I really fell in love with the game.
So when you started, were you always competitive? Were you like that kid?
I mean, I was definitely extremely competitive when I was younger and still am, but I think I always wanted to do well in kind of everything I did. So once I was like, yeah, I like really like doing this, I obviously wanted to do really well and get better as fast as possible.
And during this time that you're talking about, was there any athlete or tennis player or that you looked up to and you like, you know what, they really inspire me and I want to do great things?
Yeah, definitely. My coach's first student, Colin Matthews, I think he was maybe 2 or 3 years older than me, but he was kind of a model student of my coach's teachings, and he worked really hard. His technique was almost perfect, and I definitely looked up to him and was always challenged by him and wanted to be able to compete at his level. And I think as I got older, it was we kind of fell apart a little bit as the program progressed. Like I think he started going to other programs, but I still always looked up to him and wanted to do well like he did.
Okay. I love that. I love that. And I have a question for you. And this is also for the chat. And again, if you're first time on a live stream, the chat is everyone watching who's commenting, who's talking, and we just call them the chat. So this is for the chat and for you. What would your walkout song be if you stepped on the court like Alanis? Like, what would your uh song be? And so I asked you for you. Right now it's
Yeah.
2025. What's yours right now?
Right now, I'm I'm a big Taylor Swift fan. So the walkout song always I always think of as Ready for It cuz I feel like it's a really good like.
All right, look like we have a little buffering here. It's going to come back. For those of you watching, we have a little bit of buffering. But all right, so if you're watching right now, my question for you is, what would your walkout song be if you were Alanis? That's what my question is for you. All right, so while we wait, so I'm super excited. We have her on. We're going to get into it a little bit when we get her back. Uh, but big news today in the tennis world for Alanis, and I can't wait to hear her reaction to just some of the awards that are happening this time of year, and looking forward to some of her summer plans. Question for you guys: if you guys grew up watching tennis, who was your favorite tennis player, either then or now? That would be my question for you guys. Who is someone that you enjoyed watching? So come to the chat. Um, and also, I have a secondary question. The secondary question is, um, where would you want to play? What is your ideal location tournament that you would like to play? So, just if you're watching right now, we have a little bit of a technical. Alanis will be back in. I'm sure she is figuring out to get back in. We'll figure that out. I'm going to give you mine. I have a couple. My favorite, um, favorite.
Okay.
Here's what we're doing. We're talking.
Sorry.
All good, all good. We're going. Here's what I asked people while you were gone. I said, for anyone watching, who was your favorite tennis player growing up? While you were gone. So I'm going to ask you. I was about to share mine when you came back. Who was your person? And do me a favor. Are you on a phone right now?
Yes. Should I turn it the other way?
Yeah. Can you turn it horizontally? This is, guys, if you're live streaming, this is why people love. Let's keep turning. This is why people love. Let's keep going. Because you're sideways now. Can you keep going? There we go. This is why people love live streaming. It's not fake, it's real. This isn't like one of those corporate interviews where people sit down and they edit it up and down. And guys,
Yeah,
if you're
having a little bit of technical difficulties.
yeah, but you know what? That's how people know it's live. It's not planned and it's real. So I want to ask you this. I'm gonna let you say this. The question I had for everyone else, Alanis, like your favorite like pro tennis or popular tennis player when you were growing up.
Definitely was Roger Federer.
Okay. Like unpack that.
Yeah, so just watching him, his everything he did, he was just so smooth. He was so cool on the
Yeah,
court. His strokes were so clean, and I think I always really liked watching the way he played, especially the way he was an all court player and came to the net, which is also how I play and base my game off of. So
sure.
I think I always looked up to him and looked at his patterns and the way he played and just loved watching him.
All right, I have one. It's controversial right now. Just brace yourself. I'm saying when I was a kid, I loved McEnroe. I was a big John McEnroe fan, and I lived in New York, and
Yep.
he's super popular there. He's super popular. All right. So, okay, Roger Federer. Okay, okay. No, that's a good one. All right. So, gotta ask you this. I've read somewhere that your coach taught you to hit tweeners when you're like 12. So, who was the first person you ever hit that shot against, and what was their reaction?
The first person I ever hit that against. I honestly cannot really remember the first person I hit it against because I would do it in practice a lot and anytime the opportunity presented itself, I would try to hit it. But I think I was in Arkansas and I was playing one of the girls I've played of many times just growing up, and the ball went over her head and I went for it. I think I made it and she missed the next shot. I don't really know if I don't think there was a reaction exactly because I personally, if I get a tweener hit on me, I'm so tight when it happens and a little bit what just happened. But, but yeah, it was awesome. I think ever since then I was that was fun, that was cool, and I just like doing it. So
That's awesome. So tell me about it. What makes that exciting for you? I know it's something that you enjoy. It's great showmanship, and as someone, I don't know if you noticed, I used to work at Baylor University. We actually hosted the NCAA tournament when I was there, and I was head of social. And I'm trying to tell people, and I traveled a lot with tennis back in the day, is the excitement, the level of energy in elite tennis matches are nothing short of amazing. Does that play into that when you have these crowds, right? Who, I ran track in college, and I think tennis fans are similar. They're a highly intelligent group that really knows the game and they know what they're seeing when they see something special. Do you, as a player, does that affect you when you're playing, that that like the people upstairs, like they know what this is?
I personally really like it when people watch because it makes it so much more fun and I feel like I'm playing for even more than just myself and playing to entertain as well. So I really enjoy when people watch me, and I think obviously I'm not gonna make crazy choices and go for shots that are stupid and not smart and low percentage, but if I can do something kind of cool, kind of stylish, I will just for fun.
So self-described showmanship. Again, I ran actually, you probably can't see it over my shoulder. Actually, my college spikes, I ran at Baylor. And one of the things, the similarity of Olympic sports, right? You train a lot by yourself, right? It's like, there's a saying, you probably seen it from Ali, and it's like, he runs because he has to, because he wants to be a champion, right? He doesn't run the mileage that boxers have to run because he loves running. He runs because he wants to be a champion. And I think if for anyone who's elite, specifically in the Olympic sports, like that's really embodied, right? You're not out there, for example, oftentimes practicing like basketball players where you're running, games and all the time.
Mhm.
Let me ask you this. How much do you get up for matches, knowing how much you train on your own? And then you have these moments because in tennis and in the Olympic sports, it's like your games are like, man, this is my moment.
Um, like how much, like how often it happens, or
Just your mindset as a gamesmanship. It's like a showmanship, right? Like
okay.
you have these moments because right, the playing time compared to the practice time is small, right?
Yes, exactly. I mean, my mindset is always you have to focus on the next point,
Yeah.
and I think you knowing that I've already put in the time on the practice court, and it ultimately just comes down to trusting myself in certain moments, and that's why you work so hard, like on and off the court.
Yeah.
You work hard in the gym, and you work hard in practice just so you can prepare for those moments where you have to do your thing.
Okay. Want to talk to you. Obviously in UNC Chapel Hill, an iconic program, not an easy place to land. When was the moment that you knew like I'm really in this and I could be great at this?
I'd say probably when I was like 12 years old.
Mm,
I mean, I never was like significantly better than anyone else. And I think growing up in Arkansas, there wasn't a lot of competition. So
right.
we just started from the ground and worked my way through the ranks. I played local tournaments, and then once I did well at those, I was able to play national tournaments or the sectional tournaments. And just as I progressed, I was like, okay, wait, I'm actually kind of decent at this
Yeah.
sport. And I think I just really liked the competing factor, like I said before, which it just motivated me every single time. Every single time I would take a loss, I would learn so much from it, and I would just make sure I didn't make the same mistakes again, and then keep working on it.
Yeah. I love that. And I want to talk to you also about making that transition to college.
Hmm.
College tennis is so different. How did you adjust from being solo for so long to being on a team in college?
It was definitely a huge adjustment. I think my first college match was so nerve-wracking personally, and I was like so tight and didn't wasn't exactly sure what was going on because I'd never played with two other people on my
Yeah.
side, and then just overall having a team and having a coach on the court. So it was definitely an adjustment. It was different, but I think every single match that I played, I got more and more experienced, and it ended up being so much more fun. There was so much energy, and it was just awesome.
That's great. That's great. And I want to talk to you about having had a great, season. Obviously, we know end of the collegiate season, but I want you to walk me through the 6-0-6-0 match in the NCAA tournament. I was following it on my phone. What zone were you in that day?
I mean, I was just so locked in. That day, I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to play my game. I felt like I owned the court, and that girl didn't have anything on me. I could
Mm,
kind of do what I want whenever I wanted, and it was like no matter what she did, I was gonna take take ownership of the court and play my game. So it was it was just one of those days where it's like if you're on, you're on, and like no one that day is gonna beat you. So
all right, gotta tell you this. I was following this online. And so I got a notification because like I have multiple things set up. I remember you hit a tweener. Don't get me wrong. I think you were up. Was it like 15-0? Is that right? Um, it's like,
yes, it
is
was
that where you were?
first point of the second set.
First one the second set. You can tell I've studied and watched a lot of tennis. What was that moment like? Right, you're in you're right at NCAA tournament. You're in Waco, Texas, which is really only about 70, 80 minutes from right where you live in Dallas, and you're playing on this court and you're in this moment of a game that you've been playing since you were, what, 9, 10 years old.
So for that match, we actually got to host the regional NCAA championship. So I got to play that match at home in Chapel Hill.
Right. Sorry about that. Sorry, I was confused in that.
No,
My
no
bad.
problem. So that was a big advantage, having the home court, the audience, like that was a big advantage in the first place. But I also think hitting that shot was just, for me, a normal, like whenever I see the ball go up and it's a lob, my first thought was always, oh, can I hit a tweener off of this? And that one was the perfect ball. And I was like, might as well. I won the first at 6-0. So I hit it, and then I ended up hitting it pretty well. And she dumped a volley in the net. But it was awesome because I could hear the crowd cheering, and it was just a really cool moment.
And talk to it. You guys ended up, after that, obviously going to the super regional. How big of a moment was that? Like, you're a freshman on, the defending ACC conference champion. So this is a team that the prior year they've had success, a history of success. You come in and immediately are able to really deliver and add value to this team.
Yeah, I think the most important thing for me was just focusing on my court, staying in the moment. Honestly, when I'm on the court, I'm not thinking about, oh, this is the NCAA championship. Like, this is an important match. No, I'm just thinking about, this is another match. I've played matches here before. I know what I'm doing, and I just have to do what I have to do to take care of business and keep moving forward. So
what about afterwards? Did it ever hit you afterwards, or were you just, because I know everybody's different, right? Some people are like kind of on to the next thing.
Yeah, I mean, afterwards, right after I finished, I immediately was like, okay, now I have to go cheer for my teammates, because I finished in like maybe 30 minutes and everyone else was still battling. So I was like, now it's I have to support my other teammates. So I mean, yeah, it was awesome getting the 6-0 win, but I was more focused on our team aspect and making sure I was doing my job on the sideline afterwards.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, it's such a big shift, like we talked about. But let's shift gears a little bit, right? NIL has opened up a whole new world. What do you think your personal brand is today?
My personal brand, I mean, I would say, I value ethics a lot, and I feel like just being a good person is the most important thing to me. I think if you're doing what's right, then no matter what happens, it's like, at the end of the day, I'm happy with myself.
Sure.
Knowing that I did the right thing. But yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to do my best out here and do whatever I can.
No, and you're doing great. I think you're building your career and you're building your life. What's something, as you're going through this, right? Finished up your freshman season. What's something you wish more young athletes who are not yet in college understood about NIL and or building your image?
Yeah, I mean, the whole NIL thing is very new for everyone, and I think I definitely could improve in the aspect of like reaching out more, and I'm still not exactly sure how to have a great NIL like image, but I definitely think like social media is such a big aspect now, so trying to do stuff on social media, just trying to expand like your views, like just getting your name out there and like your values as well, I think is the biggest thing.
Yeah. No, and I think that's a great question. Of course, we'll get into the full answer on Wednesday, tease a little bit for that. No, I think that is a great question. I think that's what a lot of people are asking. I think you're well positioned, right? Like, I think you're someone whose game really backs up and is really a platform that you can build from. So I look forward to talking to you about that. But I have a question for you. If any of the big brands call you, whatever brands you like, Nike, Wilson, Gatorade, whatever brands you like, why should they pick up a call from you?
I think, well, I would say I'm at least very loyal. I will definitely do everything I can to show that this brand is sponsoring me, and I am gonna publicly make it known. And I think that I also, the way that I represent myself on and off the court is in a good manner. So it would not be a terrible decision to pick up my call.
You're consistent, you're loyal, you're a good representation, and you're a good investment.
I would say so. I would hope.
I love that. So let's talk about content creation, right? As a practitioner myself, right? Not just a strategist, making content. For you, as you're on your journey right now, what is the things that you're still figuring out or wanting to learn when it comes to like content creation, branding, building an audience? What are some of the questions you have?
I mean, I'm still trying to learn how to like get the views up, get the follower count up, and I think it's just like what type of content people want to see without making my image something other than who I am.
Yeah.
I think that's the toughest part.
That's a legit question, and I like that. And one of the things we'll do on Wednesday is just talk about how everything's content, right? Like even this call, which I've shared with you, is this used to just be our production call, right? So to figure out the coaching, all the questions I'm asking you, your background story, how did you get started, who inspired Alanis? So as we sit down and talk, or even now your questions about NIL, this literally would be it. And we just are what I call documenting. So we're going to walk through because I have this belief that we as human beings can take anything simple in our minds and make them super complicated. I don't know if it's just my mind, but one of the things that I talk about is just really simplifying things. It's kind of like your game sometimes, just simplifying, sticking to the basics, and like documenting what you're already doing. So we're going to talk about that on Wednesday. How does that sound?
Sounds great.
Yeah. Because it's not it. Now, I'm not saying it's easy, but I think it is easier, or the steps are not nearly as complicated as our minds can do. At least if your mind is like mine. So right now, without giving a brand name, because if you say a name, the social media accounts, if we post this and clip it, will not let people see it because they didn't pay for it. So if you had a dream partnership, so when I say that, I mean, instead of saying like per se a specific shoemaker, you might say an apparel maker or a drink maker or something like that. But that being said, what is a dream partnership for you?
A dream partnership. I mean, I definitely like clothing. I like the shoes. I would say I get taken pretty well right now, but I would also look more into maybe some sort of like hydration sponsor,
Okay.
because I have been known to have a little bit of cramping issues, so I feel like that would be a big deal for me, getting some extra hydration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that, because off the bat, what that tells me is I think you already have a deep sense and understanding that like the best partnerships are real ones, right? Whether they're really dialing into your actual life, like you talked about the hydration, which that's a great one. And of course, apparel and fashion, which is something I would imagine. Is that on and off court that you have interest in?
Yeah, I mean, I mostly am on court, but yeah, off court would be great too.
Yeah, because that's kind of like the lifestyle portion,
Yeah.
right? And we know, especially in sports now, everybody has now, even in the Olympic sports and during the Olympics, you saw them do like all of the arrival photos and videos, which you saw in the NBA and the NFL. Now they're trickling over, right? And people
That's so
now,
cool.
which I'm sorry.
It's so cool.
Yeah. So, and that might be some fun content we can talk about. I love that. What's your biggest NIL dream, right? Like, I know as someone who's reached the level where you are, I know you have a mind that can dream, right? You're a player who was 9 years old, learned to play in Arkansas, and now you guys hoisted the trophy, went to the NCAA tournament. So I know you have this vision for your life. What is your biggest NIL dream?
I mean, probably to help like pay for my pro career in tennis. And I think I'm not really sure what exactly the NIL thing would be, but I definitely want it to be enough to help pay for my professional career if I can make it.
Yeah, and that's super smart, right? Because we know in the Olympic sports, not just tennis, we're talking tennis, golf, track, all of those. Like a lot of people don't know. Of course, you know this really well. Everybody's pretty much independent. You're covering your costs, and hopefully your sponsors, one way or another, cover it. So I think that's really big that you're thinking early in your career about that. And so I think that's really cool. So let me ask you this. One of the things that I've sometimes have noticed is that athletes underestimate like one of the NIL opportunities, which is monetizing your platforms, right? Like a lot of people just focus on, hey, can we get the shoe deal? Can we get the apparel deal? But, and you're probably aware, I think one of the things as you grow can also be monetizing, meaning like if you have a YouTube long form, there's people like Kai Cenat, there's people like Mr. Beast who are really just making a lot of money just on getting a lot of views. Do you feel like something over time that you would be interested in? So you'd have like one of them would be your brand deals, right? And then one of them just being the monetization from the actual platforms themselves.
Yeah, I mean, of course I'd like things to have my like videos to have many views, and I feel like that's how people are able to see and like get to know you. But I think I'm one of those people that like to let my racket do the talking, so I
Okay.
think I'd also want it to come a little bit naturally and
Okay.
not have to force it too much. But yeah, I definitely say that if I can get views, then it'll
Okay,
help.
let's dig into this. I'm glad you brought this up. This is a great point. So what I'm hearing, and correct me if I'm wrong, like you really don't want like like Real Housewives type of show. Like I'm just talking about a popular reality TV series. And we know a lot of that's ginned up, right? Like I don't watch it anymore, but I will be honest, admit I used to watch Real Housewives of Atlanta. And we know they used to put those trips together to Mexico for the fights and for the drama that ensued, right?
Mhm.
And so I think that's what you're talking about, right? Like the ginned up, not
Yeah.
real things. And and I think, kind of doubling back to the documenting, I think with the journey you're on, there's a massive opportunity to document the things you're already doing that is just natural without having to be anything other than who you really are. And one of the things I want to ask you about, so you talked about wanting to help people. Who do you see as your audience, right? So as we go on Wednesday and we craft this plan, it's going to really deliver immense value to the people that you want to serve. Who does that look like to you?
I mean, honestly, probably like younger tennis players, especially younger girls, and I think just showing them like the journey and the pathway through like junior tennis and college tennis, and that there is a way to progress and you don't have to be like a big like crazy, what's it called, like a
Like,
prodigy
yeah.
whenever you're really young to still do well and be successful. So
No, that's awesome. I love that. I love that. And I think so basically you want to serve people who kind of inspired to do what you want to do, right? There's
yes, exactly.
millions of young girls all over this country and actually all over the globe who not just want to play tennis, maybe they also want to play other sports because there's a lot of things that I would imagine that you've learned along the way that could help them, right? Like mindset, training, things like that. Does that sound realistic or who you want to
Yeah,
serve?
exactly.
Okay, man, not bad. You know what? Like you said, you let your racket do the talking. So I think the content that we're talking about is really going to deliver. Let me ask you this. One of the things is we talk about crafting a plan. I do think that time and bandwidth is a huge thing. Now, I'm going to tell you this: some of the biggest people we've had on this show, they created a lot of their content with their phone. They don't have a fancy camera. They don't have a production team. What is your mental and time bandwidth? The reason why I say mental is because athletes do need time to mentally reset with, right, going to school, all the, practice, having a life, talking to your family like you're a real person, right? So you have to have space for yourself. And then there is like just the time constraints. Let's talk about in season and then out of season. In season, how much bandwidth do you feel like you have, and how much do you feel uh out of season? And just talk me through it. Like what are you really feeling?
Yeah, I mean, in season, we definitely don't have much time, like downtime I'm sure everything, like you said, everything is content, but yeah, I'm a lot more focused on my school, my homework, getting into practices, putting in the time and work that I have to do and get done. But I feel like at the end of the day, it's like the days go by so quickly.
Yeah.
We still have to go to class, and then we still have to do the homework afterwards. But I think it's just all about balance and time management, which is
Yeah.
the hardest part.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that, unpack that. I don't know if you're familiar with Alyssa Utsby, UNC Chapel Hill women's basketball 1,000 point scorer. We had her; she was actually one of our first guests on the program. And one of the things we're gonna share, I don't know if you've seen that series she does, where she goes around to UNC athletes and she just films like doing their sport. And one of the things, and we'll talk about this with you because I love best practices. Everything she does on her phone, and she plans most of her content laying on her couch while she has a few minutes of downtime. So I love what you're saying. Let's go through this quick, rapid fire round. All right. Favorite athlete growing up?
Favorite athlete, Roger Federer.
One match you'd rewatch forever?
Ooh. Probably the Rafa Roger final, Wimbledon.
Okay, love that. Favorite post-win meal?
Olive Garden.
Is it the all-you-can-eat breadsticks, or what's drawing you in?
I really like their pasta and then their soup.
I love it.
Big
And is
soup
there
fan.
And as we know as athletes, one of the things that you have is the food is going to be on point. It's consistent
Exactly.
no matter where you go. All right, dream pro tournament you'd love to play in?
Wimbledon.
Okay. All right, last one. TikTok trend you'd low-key crush but have never posted?
That's a tough question because I actually don't have TikTok,
I
but
knew that.
yeah. A trend.
It could be like a
What are
dance.
the recent trends? Definitely not dancing.
I don't believe you
For
there.
them.
I don't believe you there. I've seen your footwork, so I'm thinking.
Yeah. I would say maybe like yeah, I just don't really know what the trends are.
So some of the ones that are popular with just teams and athletes, and then of course there's a bigger world. Some people love doing like different trending things like dances with their teammates because they're fun. Everybody's involved. It's fun. That's one. Is that something you would try or do?
I mean, I would try if it was my team, but I definitely don't do them.
I love it. I love the honesty. All right. So moving forward and shifting gears a little bit. One goal, personal, professional, that's driving you right now.
Right now, my goal is to get to play in the US Open doubles championships, which I'll get the opportunity to play for in about a month.
Okay. Okay. And let's talk about this. One of the things that we talk about content, I always say it's a legacy play, right? Like there's people like you're saying, like yourself and myself and other people, right? You can build a legacy. You can, I think about like Kobe Bryant, who's no longer with us, but he left us this great gift is that like, he went on all these podcasts and gave away, excuse me, the Mamba mentality. You can go and plug it in right now and you can see videos. And so that's when I talk about like a legacy play. And as someone as yourself who really wants to inspire young women around the world, I have to ask you this. What is the kind of legacy you want to leave behind on or off the court?
Yeah, I mean, I like I said before, I really like entertaining people. So I feel like I want to be one of those people that are fun to watch and like known as like a kind person. Like I'm always open to anything, learning new things, and I think that like as legacy wise, I obviously want to be really known as a really great tennis player, but I think also a great person who treats everyone the same.
Okay. So that's on and then off. You'd love to entertain and engage people.
Yep.
Okay. Any advice that you have for your 13-year-old self who's picking up a racket today?
I would say hard work is the biggest thing for sure. If you as long as you work hard and you put in the time, there's not a lot that can go wrong. But I would also say belief is such a big aspect too,
Mm.
because no one else can believe in you but yourself. And if you don't have the belief that you can do it, then there's absolutely no way you're going to be able to do it.
That's a bar. That's a bar. Gotta ask you this. I was looking around at the ACC championship, the trophy hosting.
Mhm.
And I noticed there was in the photos and the videos while I was doing my research, I didn't see you in any of the photos or videos. So I'm just curious, as a nosy former journalist, uh, what's the story? Like what happened and how did that moment unfold?
Yeah, so me and Tatum were still on court on the top bank because the courts were shifted up and below. So I think I think Claire was on the far court on our bank. She already finished, so she was already watching Reese's match, and Carson had already finished. So then I think Reese clinched, so we finished, and everyone was already there, already like running to her.
Yeah.
And I was still in the middle of a point, like finishing the point on my court, and I was on the upper bank, and I had to go shake my opponent's hand and then had to run all the way down. But it took me a lot longer just to get there because there were so many people in between the courts as well. So I had to like shove through my way, but I eventually got
Get off me.
Yeah, I was just a little bit late to the party.
Okay. Okay. All right. So as we wrap up here, talk to us about where can people find you? What platforms are you currently on right now?
Yeah, I would say my main platform is definitely Instagram. So everything I keep everything updated on Instagram.
So Instagram, are you on any other platforms, but maybe not as active on those accounts?
I'm also on Facebook, but not I mean I post similar stuff as I do on Instagram, just not quite as much.
Okay, we're going to talk about this. And one of the things that I always talk about this, no secret to people who watch the show. We're going to talk about LinkedIn. Hopefully on Wednesday, we can always talk about how to execute. I think for athletes, it is like the biggest, most underutilized resources. All the brand managers, for example, all the people in the sport who really can move the needle for you, they're on there. So we're going to talk about that on Wednesday. All right. So give us the handle, Alanis. First of all, I appreciate you rocking with us today. Give us the handle on IG where people can follow you.
Uh, my account's called Alanis Hamilton, and yeah, I don't know. It's on Instagram.
It's on Instagram, y'all. All right. So we're running this back Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Time. It's a live coaching session. And Alanis, for you, what I would highly recommend right now, this is a launch off for you. Everybody comes on the show. I tell them this should be your opportunity to I don't know if you grew up in church, but it doesn't matter, or if you did. Like I grew up in like a Southern church, and there's what they call and response. You ever ask like the pastor like ask something and everybody responds? You get the same thing in like school. That's what you need to do, like learning to communicate to mass audiences is like signaling to them like this is something I'm going on as a journey, and you can invite them to pull up on Wednesday, and that's the beginning of your journey, like taking it to the next level. NIL. So what does that mean? Practically, realistically, and this is for you, anybody else who's going on a show. Anytime you go on a show, you should pre-promote before you go on, promote it right before you go on, and then afterwards. And so what you're doing is treating everybody that you want, Alanis, as your community member. They're a supporter, right? Like I don't really believe in fans, I believe in supporters, right? Because it's like if Alanis is on here and I'm going and you're on a show, it's like, I'm gonna pull up to support you. So we're gonna actually do that in real time. So we're not gonna just talk about all this, we're actually doing this, and then afterwards you'll have the content. How does that sound?
Sounds great.
All right, so do that, friends, families, teammates that you feel comfortable. We're going to dig deeper into branding, NIL strategy, all of that. You guys, you don't want to miss it. It's going to be a great conversation. You could tell from this conversation, Alanis is a superstar. She's a showman. She's someone with a great story. So make sure you follow Alanis. Subscribe to Brand&Athlete all over social media. One last thing I always like to leave with, right? Like this platform, and you talked about yours. For us, we really, is having worked in with professional athletes and working with college athletes, is helping athletes tell their story. And one of the things we try to do is give helpful tips, share like stories like yours. There's someone who looks and they see themselves like a future version of themselves in you. So to that being said, if you had a piece of motivation or something that you wanted to share to anyone who wants to achieve some goals that they have, what is your advice to them right in this moment?
I mean, like I said before, hard work, but consistency for sure. And I think like if I want to be like we're in my position right now, or is on
I'm
this
just saying, so here's why I look at it, right? Remember we talked about you want to inspire young women, young athletes. If they're listening to you and we chop this up and we have a message for them, right? Like I know you're not heavy on social media usage because you're busy playing, but if you had a moment and you could give somebody a motivational, inspirational message that speaks to them, what would that message be in this moment?
I think to kind of own yourself, to be okay with like who you are and know that you can do anything that you want to do if you put your mind to it. And I think that if you want to achieve something, all you have to do is just set your goals and do what you have to do, and I'm sure you can do anything.
I love that. I love that. And I'm going to give one. And mine is just simple. And it actually speaks to Alanis, what you're already doing. And that is like getting started. Like everyone, if you have a dream that you want to do, just focus on the next step in front of you. Like, for example, today, Alanis, you're starting your journey. And I think I love talking about the first step, the second step for many people, because I think those are the most important. And first of all, so shout out to you for taking first steps in your NIL and branding journey. And for anybody out there, like just be fearless, believe in yourself, and just take the first step. So that's it. So, okay, guys, Wednesday, 7 p.m., Brand&Athlete, YouTube Live, pull up. Alanis, are you pulling up? Are you coming through?
I'm definitely pulling up. I'll be there.
All right, guys. Thanks for the time. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.